Blackstone Audio presents Remembering Laughter by Wallace Stegner. This book is read by Cassandra Campbell. All characters and all incidents in this novelette are purely fictitious. Prologue. Throughout the latter part of the morning, buggies kept turning in from the highway and wheeling up the quarter-mile of Elm Arch Drive to the farm. Surreys and Democrat wagons, an occasional brougham, an even more occasional automobile, whose brass caught the sunlight between the elms. By 11 o'clock, there was a long line parked hub to hub against the tight windbreak of interlocked spruce at the north and west of the yard, and the house hummed with the subdued noise of many people. Sitting at the parlor window, old Mrs. Margaret Stuart had the whole yard, the drive, and the highway beyond under her eye. She could see the white tape of the state road looping over a low hill a mile to the west, the white gabled house and high-shouldered red barn of her neighbors the Paxleys, the cornfields standing dry and stripped in the thin October sun. Along the road, clouds of dust crawled slowly, blown by no wind, almost obliterating the vehicles that raised them. Most of the dust clouds paused at the corner, hung briefly at the end of the elm tunnel, and resolved themselves into the dark, moving miniatures of carriages or cars, to draw up at last in the growing line against the windbreak. Expecting many guests, Margaret Stuart was waiting for no one. There was no curiosity in the eyes that watched the road, no expectancy, no anticipation. A gaunt, angular old woman in black poplin, motionless, hands folded in her lap. She sat before the parlor window and stared quietly out across the Iowa fields and the road and away to the horizon hazy with the attenuated smoke of straw fires. Seen in profile, she gave the impression of great age. Her face was parchment over bone, with a sharp, bony nose, high forehead that rose abruptly into the tightly drawn, lifeless hair, and eye sockets sunk so deeply that they looked at first glance like the eyeless hollows of a skull. But like many another woman, Margaret Stuart had kept in her eyes the life that had dried gradually out of her body, and anyone at whom she looked directly found himself wondering how he could ever have thought her old. Her eyes were a sudden and violent blue, filmless and clear, and hard as ice. Her body was the body of a woman of 60, her eyes those of a woman of 30. Actually, she was 47. The big rooms off the dark parlor were full of people, but Margaret Stuart paid no attention to the sound of many feet, or to the faces that looked curiously in the door. No one spoke to her. She spoke to no one. Elspeth was taking care of them until time for the funeral. There was no reason to go out there now. She sat quietly in the little hard mahogany chair, the rockers never stirring, and stared out across the bare yard and the stripped corn and the road with its rolling cumuli of dust. Outside, the great oak at the corner of the house rubbed gently against the shingles, and occasionally a red-brown leaf wavered past the window. Margaret turned her head as steps came across the bare maple floor of the hall and Elspeth entered. Though Elspeth was 7 years younger than Margaret, she looked like her twin. The same tightly drawn hair, the same high forehead and sharp nose with the nostrils bitten in, the same cavernous eye sockets and ice-blue eyes, the same raw-boned, gaunt, poplin-clad figure. When they spoke, the words of both had a soft Scotch burr. "Most of them have come?" Elspeth said. "The Reverend Hitchcock thinks we should begin." Margaret looked at the locket watch that hung on a gold chain against the flat, stiff poplin of her breast. "Better wait till 11:30. Will you come in soon? They've been asking about you." "Soon."